Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. If you're just coming off that Giants-Bears game, I know most of you probably didn't even watch the game. I mean, I flipped on the Jets game at the end there. Of course, the Jets, as if the Giants couldn't get unlucky enough, the Jets had to come in and say, no, hold your horses here. We're going to go blow a game against the Bucs, which would have given you the 4th overall pick. So the Giants end up walking away with pretty much nothing. They were exactly where they were before. That Bears pick gets a little bit deeper. I think that's 8th now, maybe. But ultimately, the Giants here, 24 passing yards, guys, 24 passing yards. I cannot believe some of the statistics I watched in this game. Mike Glennon has 8 turnovers in the past 3 games, 4 of them coming today. I mean, it's just when you look at teams like the Texans with David Mills, when you look at Tyler Huntley with the Ravens, you look at some of the backups in the league, and the fact that we have Mike Glennon, the fact that we have an offensive line that after investing tons of money in draft capital into, has been nothing short of absolute garbage peewee ass football. It's hard to fathom how Joe Judge's job is safe. It's hard to fathom that Dave Gettleman still is even the general manager of this team. He hasn't been fired yet. Anthony said right before we started, Dave Gettleman might get fired because of this game. And honestly, I don't even think so, because he should have been fired a year ago. He should have been fired after last week's game, the week before that. I don't even think he can get any worse than this. The team looks undisciplined. They don't care. You can tell they don't give a shit anymore. They've totally given up on the season. Joe Judge, could only get them to play hard for so long. The defense has given up. The offense gave up weeks ago. Saquon Barkley looked a little spry. He looked like he had some pep in his step, but otherwise, the entire offense, 3 points. They've scored. Let me give you a statistic that really will make your blood boil. The Patriots scored more points today than the Giants have in the past 5 weeks combined. Let that sink in for a second. The Patriots have a rookie quarterback, and ultimately it comes down to good drafting and good coaching. That's really what makes the best out of players. And the Giants have good talent. They just have awful coaches. I'll tell you what, I learned something big from Joe Judge. Just because your coaching staff is the biggest in the league doesn't mean they're any good. And I think the Giants have one of the worst coaching staffs in the league at this point. There's no wonder why guys are about to leave left and right to go to get college jobs, Anthony. But after this game today, we're exactly where we were last week. I have no feelings anymore. I'm still pretty numb from every week we lose it like this. It's just pretty much like, when can this freaking end? Like, one more week and we finally get to the offseason.
Yeah, this loss was expected. I don't think any of us really expected the Giants to win this game. I know I certainly didn't. So I'm not upset about it. I'm upset over the way that the Giants lost, because it's just week after week the most boring football game of all time. Like last week it was so boring. Then this week it got even worse. It's just so boring. And it wasn't even boring in the perspective of the Bears fans either. I felt like it was just an all-around boring game. Like, yes, the Bears won 29-3. I'm sure the fans are probably happy about the wide margin of the victory, but it wasn't even exciting. Like, there was no big plays. There was nothing special in this game. I don't know. It was just such a boring football game. I struggled to watch the whole thing. I did flip on the Jets for a while there. They crushed my heart just as badly as the Giants did. Really thought that the Jets were going to pull off that unlikely victory. They did not. So now the Giants aren't going to get the top 3 pick. I don't know, man. Really disappointing there. Of course, the Giants are disappointing. We could say that over and over. I'll throw out another fun stat for you, Alex, and this one actually makes me a little bit happy because I like Odell. Odell has scored 5 touchdowns since week 12. The New York Giants have scored 5 touchdowns since week 12. So that hurts me because of how bad the Giants are, but I'm happy for Odell because I still like him. But, man, it really just speaks volumes as to how bad the New York Giants offense is. They can't move the ball. They can't score touchdowns. I've never seen a team struggle so badly on a week-to-week basis just to put the ball in the end zone. You look at teams around the league, like you just mentioned, the Patriots dropping 50 points today. The Chiefs and Bengals just each dropped 30 points in a thrilling game. There's just touchdowns everywhere in the NFL. Every team is just scoring copious amounts of touchdowns for the most part. But the New York Giants just struggle to even move the ball into the other side of the field, struggle to get a single touchdown on the board. They got 3 total points today, 1 field goal. They were only in scoring distance once. It's just pathetic, man. They can't drop back to pass. The offensive line is depleted with injuries, and on top of that, it's just talentless for the most part, other than Andrew Thomas. Also, I want to say this, that sack that Andrew Thomas let up, I don't believe that was Andrew Thomas's fault, and I'll give my explanation and breakdown. If you watch what Andrew Thomas did there when Robert Quinn got that sack, he pushed Robert Quinn in the back, meaning he was trying to push him past the pocket, which means that Mike Glennon was supposed to step up and deliver a throw. Mike Glennon drifted backwards, held onto the ball too long, and got whacked from behind by Robert Quinn. That is, again, incompetency at quarterback, right? The Giants have had zero help from the quarterback position since Daniel Jones has gone down with this injury. And I'll say this, man, everybody wants to say, all these reports are saying Joe Judge's job is safe. a game like this should truly change management's mind over that, ownership's mind over that. They should really be rethinking that. This plan to keep Judge at least another year, they should be rethinking that. You look at how undisciplined, lazy, and bad this football team is, so poorly coached. They should really be rethinking Joe Judge's future with this team. And I do believe that Dave Gettleman has a good shot of being fired today. And even if he isn't, I really think that he should be fired as soon as possible.
We know that for a fact. We know he should be fired as soon as possible. But like you said, after this kind of game, I mean, the team's given up. The discipline's got the window. The execution is non-existent. 24 passing yards. I don't know how. I mean, look at the special teams. For goodness sake, the Pharaoh Cooper's out here waving balls into the end zone, and it's not even landing in the end zone. The ball's not even landing in the end zone. Joe Judge is a special teams coach. The fact that he can't even put together a competent special teams unit with some discipline is a big, big problem, guys. The coaching staff he has assembled is not doing a good job. What is he going to do here, guys? You know, some of these guys are going to leave to go get college jobs. That's just the reality of it. Who is he going to replace these guys with? Do we trust any of these coaches anymore? Do we trust they can get the job done? I don't at this point. You know, like at this point, you're really just better off hitting the restart button. If you're going to fire your general manager and head coach, bring in guys who are going to be in cohesion with one another. Bring in a GM who's going to go out and help you find a new head coach who has the same ideology and mindset. You know, hire them at the same time and let them fail or succeed together. The logic of bringing in, keeping Joe Judge, bringing in a general manager and forcing a GM to just have Joe Judge and deal with it. It just doesn't make sense to me at this point. The logic of it's very flawed. You're forcing something on a GM. This is how you get these issues internally, and this is how you have guys that just don't understand what's going to happen. Like if they have differing opinions, whether it be the draft or free agency or anything, this is where those issues start to spark and come up. But ultimately, Joe Judge at this point in time can't be trusted, right? He can't be trusted. Dave Gettleman is gone. We know he's gone. It just depends on who they're going to replace him with. Kevin Abrams, whatever. Anthony's doing a tremendous job, filtering through some of the options on the YouTube channel. So go check those out. He has a whole series just checking out new GM candidates, and it's really, really great. It gives you a lot of information on their background and kind of what things they've said in the past or things they've done to justify maybe being a contender, for the job or not. And he's going to do a lot more of those. So Ed Dodds, obviously being a future one, he's already done Louis Riddick and Kevin Abrams. And a lot of people had a lot of interesting things to say about those two guys. Of course, Kevin Abrams, more the money guy, has some experience just over time in the scouting department, but that's not really what he's known for. The Giants at this point, though, I'll tell you what, I really would never. It's hard to justify taking two offensive linemen in the first, in the top 10 picks with your 2 first-round picks. Most teams would try and shy away from that. A lot of teams have mid-round picks scattered throughout their offensive line. The Giants may not have a choice but to do this upcoming offseason, right? They legitimately, if the offense is going to continue to play at this level, they're going to lose every single game, as we've seen. 5 losses in a row. They can't win games with this type of offensive production. I think they've been put into a corner. They're going to have to draft 2 offensive linemen, and it's probably going to end up being one of those big offensive tackles, Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal or Charles Cross. And then, of course, Tyler Linderbaum would be, I guess, number 8 is where he's probably going to go if the Giants have an opportunity to snag him. There's going to be some good pass rushers there. There's going to be some really good talented players who we're going to have to pass on. But then again, Tyler Linderbaum is one of those really talented players. Interior linemen, centers don't usually go top 10. But when the Giants have a need as big as they do right now at the center position, Billy Price must be launched into the stratosphere. Tyler Linderbaum, man, I saw him in the bowl game yesterday on Saturday. He was running, man. That guy is athletic as hell. If you want an explosive running game with guys who can get to the second level, offensive linemen who can get to the second level and block downfield, Tyler Linderbaum is your guy. He is a freak athlete. He's going to make big plays for you in the blocking game, and he can help really develop that screen game too, because he's so athletic and so smart. So Anthony, when you're looking at this team offensively, we'll wrap this up right now because I know we don't have much more to say. But do you think the Giants have kind of been, cornered into taking 2 offensive linemen in the first 10 picks?
Not necessarily cornered into taking 2 offensive linemen in the first picks. Like I said, I've been saying it's going to depend on who the Giants choose as their next general manager, right? Because there's going to be different philosophies across different general managers. And even if the Giants do somehow make a change at head coach, right, that's going to make a difference on who they selected the first round as well. Now, I do think that taking 2 offensive linemen in the first round is a good idea. I actually support that idea. I like that idea. And you guys all know, I've been saying it for weeks. I love Tyler Linderbaum. I love Evan Neal. I love a lot of these offensive line talents in the first round. I think that they're tremendous. So I'm not complaining at all if the Giants go ahead with 2 first-round picks on the offensive line. But am I saying that that's the likelihood? I think it's way too soon to tell. We've still got 4 months until the NFL draft, so you can't really make any bets just yet. But there are a lot of great offensive line talents in the first round of this year's draft, and the Giants would be really stupid not to at least use one of their first round picks on the offensive line. And the whole argument of not wanting to take Tyler Linderbaum in the top 10 because he's a center, guys, he's an elite prospect. I understand positional value is important sometimes. Like, most of the time, it is really important. Taking a running back in the top 5, like, that's a bad idea. Taking a center, just because centers don't usually go in the first round, neither do guards, right? And Quentin Nelson transformed the Colts offensive line. And if we're saying that this is an elite center the same way that Quentin Nelson was an elite guard, I don't see how it's too different. Now, I understand some parts of the argument with the positional value, but the Giants just have so many needs on the offensive line. If you're drafted for needs, then yes, you are probably selecting the most elite talent on the offensive line available. And if that happens to be Tyler Linderbaum, so be it. You just take that elite offensive lineman, because the Giants have zero. I mean, they have one good player on the offensive line. They have one good player, and it's Andrew Thomas. And I'll say today, when I was watching this game, a lot of sacks, a lot of pressure. So many times in this game, I saw just the pocket absolutely collapsing. Mike Glennon getting whacked by like 3 different players, and just Andrew Thomas alone on an island with a player locking him down. It was actually pretty impressive, like how frequently he was the only one that was actually getting the job done. Andrew Thomas is a great player. I'm excited for the Giants to build around him in the future, but they got to get him some freaking help. They got to get him some help at left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. The whole rest of the offensive line needs to be redone, and it's going to take a very good general manager to find the right talent, place it into the right positions, and fix this offensive line and fix this team. So honestly, guys, I'm just excited for this offseason now. I don't care about this next week's game versus Washington. I'm just looking ahead to the NFL draft, to the NFL free agency. I'm super excited to start doing some film breakdowns on draft prospects for you guys on the channel, so stay tuned to that. And of course, yes, I'm going to continue to do the Get Gone series, taking a look at all of the general manager candidates. Next episode is going to be fan favorite Ed Dodds. Then I'm going to do that Joe Schoen, the guy from the Bills, assistant GM, because I know he's also becoming a hot name for the New York Giants. I'm super excited for this Giants general manager search, and I'm really hoping that they find the right guy this time, because if they don't, I mean, man, we're going to be screwed for another 5 years. So hopefully they get it right this time, because this is kind of like all or nothing, now or never. They got to get this one right.
Yes, they do. And to part ways with you guys, here's a nice little Joe Judge quote for you. He says he thinks that his team prepared well and played hard. He also said, let's see, obviously it wasn't good enough. So according to him, his team prepared well and played hard. I will tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen a more embarrassing line of comments from this guy. It's just every week it's some bullshit. And this is just another testament to why he can no longer be trusted. I know he has to say these things, but if I was a head coach and I had been blown out 5 consecutive weeks, my team has scored less than 50 points in 5 consecutive games, which is averaging less than 10 points a game. If I was the head coach, I'd literally be like, this is unacceptable. We are better than this. I would challenge my players. Instead, he's giving them a way out. They played hard. They prepared well. Hold some responsibility, some accountability for your players. Tell them, be like, challenge them. Finish the season strong. Have some freaking pride. You're being paid millions of dollars. Have some pride for what you do. Like, it's just embarrassing. Like, it seems like, he says the same shit every week. And it's just, I mean, imagine Bill Belichick getting blown out like that. He would have blown a freaking gasket. You know what I mean? Like, Joe Judge is just, it's just, the words hold no meaning anymore. We want to see action, no more bullshit. And ultimately, we say this every week, but I mean, unless Joe Judge can realize that, rather John Mara can realize that this team needs a complete overhaul in most portions of the team. I mean, we're looking at another 3 years of incompetence, and it's not going to be fun, guys. But hope you enjoyed the video, talking a little bit about everything heading into Week 18. Finally, the season will be over soon. Make sure to like and subscribe below as always. Have a fantastic week. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. Drink away your sorrows from this team, but we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.